Hi, friends. Today we're going to continue reading the Bailey School Kids. Leprechauns Don't Play Fetch. Here we go. Let's go ahead and play our screen. Here we go. So we left off with the kids, Howie, Melody, Lisa, and I think I got Howie, Melody, Lisa, and who's our last one? Eddie. Oh my goodness, how could I forget Eddie? And they now think Mr. McDougal is a leprechaun and that he has power. And he also has the power of the Blarney Stone. He must have kissed it because he's making them buy things they don't need. Although Howie's the one who suggested it. And I think the others are going to agree. But Eddie's always the last one to jump on board, but he usually is the one to save the day. Let's go ahead and find out a little bit more. Chapter 8, Proof. Your mind has turned to clover, Eddie told Howie. Oh, there we go again. Eddie never believes his friends when they say this. He's usually the last one, but he ends up saving the day every single time. Leprechauns don't sell guppies, Lisa agreed. They don't own pet stores, and they don't live in Sheldon City. Leprechauns definitely don't play fetch, Melody said, nodding toward Mr. McDougal. So there's that title, Leprechauns Don't Play Fetch. We found it in Chapter 8. I have proof, Howie said as he held up his thumb. First of all, he wears green. Eddie snickered. I'm wearing a red shirt. I guess that makes me Santa Claus. Ha ha ha. If that's true, you have to give me all your toys, Melody said. Very funny, Howie said, raising a finger. But that's not all. His shop is right beside a clover patch. Oh, my friends, look at. He's trying to use his own perspective or viewpoint and different ideas about leprechauns to convince his friends that he is right. My dad uses weed killer to get rid of clovers in our yard, Melody said. Maybe Mr. McDougal doesn't know about weed killer. It's also down the street from the beach, but that doesn't make Mr. McDougal a sea monster, Lisa pointed out. So now you're hearing a little bit more about our other friends' perspectives, and they're trying to prove Howie wrong with other ideas. But he does know about limericks, Howie continued, and held up another finger. So here he goes again. He's trying to show more proof. And by the way, limericks are poems that originated from Scotland and Ireland, I believe. What's a limerick? Eddie asked as his stomach rumbled. Is that a new type of candy? Lisa giggled. A limerick is a silly poem. The rhymes almost put you in a trance. They're used by, guess who, you guys? Who are they used by? Leprechauns, Howie said, holding up the rest of his fingers on one hand. And Mr. McDougal wears a hat and those funny leather pouches. He won't look anyone in the eye. Melody clapped her hands. That's because you can gain control over a leprechaun by looking in their eyes. Howie's grandmother told us that. So if you guys remember, we actually read a different Bailey School Kids, the one where leprechauns don't play basketball. And we learned from Howie's grandmother who lived in Ireland that leprechauns, first off, the original leprechauns were red. But then when they were cursed, they had to wear green to blend in so they wouldn't be seen. And they also told us that if you look a leprechaun in the eye, you gain control. And so in the last book we read, remember, that's how they got the leprechaun to leave. Exactly. And leprechauns are known tricksters. Mr. McDougal is a leprechaun, and he's tricking all the people of Sheldon City out of their money to add to his own pot of gold, Howie said. But leprechauns are supposed to be shy, Melody told Howie. Mr. McDougal loves talking to people. He talks up a storm, Eddie added. He's so full of blarney, he can talk the spots off a diamond's back. Oh, that's really funny. I love that. He's not actually going to talk the spots off of his back, but if you think about our figurative language, that just puts a nice picture in your mind. Remember, Diamond's a Dalmatian, so he has all those black spots, and he's comparing the two, like he can just talk them right off. No, he couldn't, Lisa pointed out. Mr. McDougal won't get close to Diamond. Howie's face turned pale. This is worse than I thought, he said. Not only is Mr. McDougal a leprechaun, but he's kissed the Blarney Stone. Oh my goodness, my friends. What is going to happen next? That is the end of chapter 8. We will continue with chapter 9 next week. What do you think is going to happen next? Go ahead and make sure that you write your prediction on what's going to happen next. Do you believe that Howie has enough evidence and convinced you that Mr. McDougal is a leprechaun? Or do you believe the other kids, did they talk you out of Mr. McDougal being a leprechaun? Go ahead and finish the slide today. I can't wait to continue reading chapter 9 on Monday.